आपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरति न विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति सत्यन्तच्च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीतनोतु नितरामितरानपेक्षमङ्घ्रिद्वयं निगमशाखिशिखाप्रवालं हैरम्बमम्बुरोहडम्बरचौर्यनिग्रहविघ्नातिभीरशतधारधुरन्धरः सर्वेषां स्वागतम्. This is the Saṃskāra session for the 10th shloka. So, the 10th shloka, नाज्ञानहानिर्न च रागसंक्षयः भवेत् ततः कर्म सदोषमुद्भवेत् ततः पुनः संसृतिरप्यवारिता तस्मात् बुधो ज्ञानविचारवान् भवेत्. So this the previous, that is the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, they lead to an explanation of one concept, but it is an elaborate explanation. So the concept, that is a samskara, that we find also going deep into it. The previous verse spoke about ajnana. Here, ajnana goes a little further. That is, explaining what ajnana is also extremely important. So what happens is, when we think about ajnana, that ajnana is basically what we understand in the Western term as ignorance, but that is not the case. In fact, this leads to a much bigger explanation of the concept as well, that when we are talking about ajnana, that ajnana, we have seen the bifurcation. There is samasti and vyasti, and they each have their own attributes. Samasti is that is ajnana as a concept itself, that is the whole concept. It is born, it doesn't have any beginning, it has end. Immediately when we get jnana, ajnana goes away, but it doesn't have any beginning. There is no adi, anadi it is. So when we say it is anadi, it is as pure as Brahman himself. It is like the Christ and the Antichrist, or the matter and the antimatter. We just to put it as a metaphor, not to borrow from that. So these are opposites. When we are understanding that the state of Brahman himself is true knowledge, then obviously ajnana would be something opposite to that. So ajnana over here is that. Now, what does it lead to? Then the Vyasti comes into play, where each person, it comes into play in a different way. So here we have something called as adhyaropa. Adhyaropa is the projections of this ajnana. So this adhyaropa, what happens is that it leads us to miscognition. It leads us to misinterpretation of the truth. Here in a text called Vedanta Sara, adhyaropa is adhyaropa, asarpabhutayaಂ rajjau sarparopavat vastuni avastvaropah adhyaropah. That means asarpa bhuta, there is no sarpatva in rajju. Rajju means a rope. This example has already been given. Asarpa bhutayam, there is no sarpa over there. Sarparopavat, sarpa aropavat, thinking that there is the essentials of a sarpa, that is a snake over there. Vastuni, that this is an example, this is a drishtanta. What are we drawing from that? Vastuni avastu aropaha. So there are two ways. One is that vastu is what is concerned to us, what is the matter what we are trying to understand, what is relevant to us. So we are thinking something is not relevant even though it is. That is one type. And we are thinking something that is not relevant is also relevant to us. So that is another type. So adhyaropa leads to misinterpretations, and the reason it exists over here. When we talk about ajnana, it is not just simply not knowing things. I think that's a very frail meaning to given to our terminologies. We just try to translate and then we try to get the understanding. That is not it. In fact, that itself can be a big reason. Let us take an example. When we talk about moksha, when we talk about Satchidananda, when we talk about the concept of Brahman, understanding Brahman is true knowledge. Why is it true knowledge? Because understanding the concept of Brahman, the state of Brahman, is extremely difficult. Why is it difficult? Because it cannot be explained. Sorry, it cannot be, yeah, it cannot be explained, it can only be experienced. So, in this sense, what happens is this Adhyaropa tries to block it. What is this Adhyaropa? I have some previous knowledge and I am trying to understand something that I have that is out of my knowledge, the scope of my knowledge through the knowledge I have. The best example for this is language. The best example is language. How, let us say we are learning a new language. How do we understand that? We understand the new language, the words in the new language from the language that we know. Rather, we are capable of learning a language totally by itself, because that's how we actually started talking. That's how we started speaking. That's how we started any language, our mother tongue. We have learned it by usage. We have learned the meaning of it. But now, when we try to learn some other language, we try to impose whatever we have learned in our language upon to the other the language that we are trying to learn. This in science also as something called as local reality. So local reality is when we try to understand something or the true nature of creation through whatever we understand. And humans primarily have five sense organs, so any kind of information that we have to process has to come through these things only. So therefore, if there is any knowledge or if the existence of a knowledge that is beyond this also, we are not able to understand it, because we can only process through these five sensory perceptions. So in this, the concept of local realism in science, it comes in quantum mechanics, where the um, ideas of realism, that means whatever is the natural state of the universe, that we are trying to understand with the forces that we already know. That means I think we can draw an example with respect to language itself. So let us say I'm trying to understand Sanskrit. In Sanskritam, there is a word called as Atma. What is the example or what is the definition of this Atma? I try to understand with the westernized term called as the soul. What is the soul? Soul, as per many philosophers, is the essence of existence. It is the essence of spiritual essence. But when we come to in Sanskritam, when we come to ideologies, in different ideologies, they mean different things. They are talking from the point of Nyaya. Nyaya is one stream of thought. The Shad Darshanas. In Nyaya Siddhanta, it says Nyaya Siddhante Jnanadhikaranam Atma. Jnanasya Adhikaranam. Adhikaranam is to authorize or not authorize. Adhikaranam, the one which gives the power or the adhikara. There, see again, because of English, what happens is adhikara is taken as authority. No, adhikara is something different. Adhikaram, jnanadhikaranam is Atma. So now it becomes a little more confusing, because I need to understand the word separately. Jnana Adi, Jnanadhi Karanam. Jnana Adi. What is this Jnana Adi? The Jnana, there are 24 gunas that we have recognized. And it starts with this Jnana. Jnana Sukha Dukha Adayaha Gunaha. Yatra Bhavanti Sayeva Atma. So these 24 different gunas, where it can exist, where it can be recognized, that only is Atma. So what are the 24? There are 24 gunas. Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Sparsha, Sankhya, Parimiti, Prathakva, Sayoga, Vibhaga, Paratva, Aparatva, Buddhi, Sukham, Dukkham, Ichha, Dvesha, Yatna, Gurutva, Dravatva, Sneham, Saṃskāra, Drishta, Adrishta, Shabda, these are all the kinds of gunas. So something that allows us to grahana, it is to house these gunas is called as Atma. This is as per Nyaya. But when we need to understand the concept of Atma, what do? We understand it through a Western ideology that says a spiritual essence of many things is Atma. No. The word Atma means more than just the essence. Why is it the essence also has to be explained? No. So the Atma is the individual, and we have the bifurcation, that is Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and the Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira is the Parabrahman, the reason for everything. But the reason now, I never asked the Parabrahman for a Sharira. Why will he give it to me? So obviously, I should have that Ichha. So my Ichha has been granted. That means it has been that Tathastu has been given by Parabrahman. So therefore, he is the Karana Sharira. I am the Sukshma Sharira. That Sukshma Sharira is the Atma. And then what Ichha was there, what the Vara has been given, that manifestation has come in the form of a Sharira called as Stula Sharira. So here, what the big problem with Ajnana is that when I am trying to understand the concept of Atma, and I am trying to understand it through some other language or through some other concept, it is leading to misinterpretations. It is leading to that is the primary reason why we say there shouldn't be any judgment, because I'm trying to find an answer. When I'm trying to find an answer, if I've already judged that the anything that I'm searching for is already coming into a certain category, right or wrong, which is right or wrong is usually is the perception, social perception. All right. When I've already decided that something is wrong, then there's no point of searching for the answer because I already know what the conclusion is. There's no point in searching for it. And there is also something called as confirmation bias. What is confirmation bias? In research, what happens is there is the huge population. I have to consider data, and I have a hypothesis. I have a theory. To prove that theory, I have to consider a certain, I have to consider whatever I am trying to say, I'm trying to prove. I need to consider certain samples from a group or selected group. That selected group is going to be called as the population. From that, I start selecting samples. When I start selecting samples, what happens is if I don't have the free, if I don't have a non-judgmental mind, I will have something called as confirmation bias, which means I will usually what happens is I will try to ignore those data that may disprove my theory, but and I will try to collect those, because the point of a research is to prove your theory. So therefore I will only look at those data points that will help me validate my theory. So this is confirmation bias, and this happens with respect to a projection of ajnana. So the ajnana, what happens is it is not just not knowing things. No, it is knowing things in the right way. It is not just not knowing things. If I don't know something, obviously somebody will not know something. If there is no but person who knows everything. Recognizing how to absorb certain kind of knowledge is extremely important. I cannot have a prejudiced mind when I'm trying to find an answer to something. Let us say we talk about the Chinese now. How will I understand what is the Chinese food culture when I've already disgusted myself with what they eat? I will never understand why that got cultivated. It's not possible. I've been so averse to that kind of thinking that any reason that I come up with to support it will also say, no, my mind will start thinking, why did they have to do that? They could have still done this. That vikalpa I'll start thinking about. And I'll fail to understand what is realism, what really happened, what is reality, what exactly happened. Because I am not there at that point of time to judge it. Therefore, what happens is this adhyaropa and ajnana will try to, there are two, empathy and sympathy. Empathy, when we talk about, empathy is trying to understand the way the other person has come to a decision, or the person is thinking like the other person. And not many people are able to do that because it also requires external assistance. Because I cannot create the scenario of Treta Yuga and try to understand it. And when we talk about a different Yuga, because we are talking about Sri Rama Gita, so can I have the same thinking? Can I have the same understanding of concepts as they had? Is it changed? Is it relevant? Is it irrelevant? Today, if I judge something, can we say that it was accepted or not accepted, rejected at that point of time too? So all these questions make it extremely difficult for us to find the truth. So a seeker, first of all, must have, that is the reason Lakshmana, the reason why Rama is replying is because Lakshmana has achieved that state of being non-prejudiced. He doesn't have any thoughts in his head. He is understanding knowledge as it is delivered. So therefore, it becomes very difficult. Otherwise, it becomes extremely difficult because my prejudice will not allow me to understand what Brahman is. Taking with the concept of a seeker, it will not help me understand because I'm saying, can I stay in samsara and still become a sannyasi? No, it's not possible because the whole point is that you need to understand what the state of Brahman is. And it cannot be explained, it cannot be told, okay, it is like this, it has attributes, it has existence, it has some light. No, that is not possible. It has to be experienced, and for that experience to happen, detachment must take place. So vairagya has to be there. Otherwise, imagine a person is meditating. Imagine a person is meditating. It gets cold. This is called a stitikshatva. Stitikshatva means having detachment from, that means sahanshilta, having tolerance towards both extreme cold and extreme heat, and both of them, if they come together also. So, let us say a person is meditating, the weather starts to change. Weather starts to change, it starts raining, it starts snowing. If that person he gives in to his sensitivity to weather changes, then he will not experience, because he's connected to the body. The body is going to dictate the terms now. I'm feeling cold, I'm feeling hot, I'm feeling hungry. So in that sense, that person will never be able to get detached from his body. Only after you separate the stula sharira, only you can understand what is sukshma sharira, no? So therefore, it is extremely important that whatever we learn, we have that. The whole point is that itself. Humans can understand primarily through five inputs. Those are the sense organs. Now, obviously, the state of Brahman is not adhina. It is not indriyadhina. It is not subject to the indriyas. It is indriyatita, atita. So therefore, I also have to give up the indriyas to understand what that state is. Which means what? Which means what? Anything that I have learned has to be given up before I start seeking. That is the reason he clearly says, Rama clearly says, we need to give up whatever we have learned in Purvashrama Varnita Kriyaha. We have to give that up. When we give that up, then arises a sense of seeker, that is the truth. What is the truth? This comes. This is enlightenment. This is what Buddha felt. That sense of enlightenment. He started asking so many questions. when the story is very popular, when he sees a child, and then when he sees an infant, a child, and then a young man, and then an old man, and then a dead body, he starts questioning what is the point of Sharira and what is the true essence of this manifestation. When he questions it repeatedly and then he completely dissolves those questions, that means he gives up those, see, even what he saw, the images, when he gives up that images and then he starts questioning manifestation, that because his focus was only on Sharira, he gives up that also. He has gone to a bigger question now: what is the point of manifestation? When we have reached a level where we have given up all the things that we have learned, Arishad Vargas, attachment to Saṃskāra, everything, then we reach a state where we are questioning the primordial existence. Then comes enlightenment. So here, Ajnana is not limited to ignorance. Ignorance is actually a very bad translation. Nonetheless, in English, if we try to compare any word, it has a limited scope because English, the words, some of them are borrowed from different languages, and it also has limited scope because not many philosophers are studied or added to this. They might have given a particular topic, but they've not reached that level of expertise, that is experiencing it, that has not been done. So Ajnana and Adhyaropa are two concepts that has been explained in this particular verse. So they are trying to find out the dosha over here. Why can't karma be true path to finding to navigating through samsara? Those two questions that comes. Why can't I do that? Why can't I be detached? And why can't it be the karma? That is the reason he's saying na ajnana na na ajnana hanihi na cha raga sankshayah would happen. That means, what is the dosha of the karma? It is the dosha of the karma is simply that it does not, unfortunately, end that particular cycle of karmas. Because of that, the ajnana, and because of ajnana, adhyaropa, all these things, we have reached a point where I have to understand it in a way that is given to me, not in the way I understand it. Unfortunate it is, but it is true. So when we look at this also, that is where when Buddha got that enlightenment, he hasn't reached the Brahman. He has not reached. He has not merged with the Karana Sharira. No, he has got athato Brahma Jignasa. After he gets rid of all that human manifestations, all those things, then he meets something, then he gets that athato Brahma Jignasa. So before that, what happens is, as per this, uh, we have ajnanam. That ajnanam gives us kriti. That means we start thinking that I can be detached even if I make karma. But what happens is, when I do karmas, it gives me dehabhimana. When dehabhimana happens, then we get that ahankara called as I am the doer. When I am the doer, I obviously develop the raga, dvesha, that is priya, apriya, and then that leads to more karma. Obviously, if I like sweet more, I eat the sweet more. So the karma, it engages us. Because of this, this is the um, dosha with karma, and this is the understanding. This is jnana, and what is ajnana is trying to think that we can join both of them together. That is, we can reach moksha with samsara also. That is, we can practice sannyasa with samsara also. So, tatah cha ajnanam hanihi na bhavet. That is the reason ajnanam hanihi na bhavet. So, tatah karma udbhavet. So in Upadesha Sara, it says Kriti Maho Dadhau Patana Karanam Phalam Ashashvatam Gati Nirodhakam. So which means the in the Dadhau Mahadadhau, in the ocean of Kritis Karya Karma, in the whole thing, Phalam Ashashvatam. The result of that phala is Ashashvatam. But the impertinent result is the cause of the man. It is ashashvata, but yet when we do that, it becomes the reason for us for our patana. So that is the reason it's extremely important that we understand the temperament, that temporary nature of the karma phala. So sahajang karma kaunteya sadosham api natyaje. This is with respect to the question arises with all these things, should we give up karma? So here in Gita, Krishna says one should not abandon the karma, one should give up after it is completed. So he says, Sahajang karma kaunteya. Karma is sahaja. Because we have taken the birth as through karma ichha. So this sharira is given to us by karma ichha. I want to talk. That is the reason I am born in a species that can talk, that can effectively communicate. Otherwise, I would be born in some other species. So I'm born in a species which has this opposable thumbs. Otherwise, I'd be because I want to hold things. Otherwise, it would not have happened. Understanding this nature that karma creates more karma, because say I'm born into a species that has opposable terms because I want to hold something, I want to lift something, and because I have my hands, I'm able to do it. When I do it, obviously more karma occurs. This is jnana. This is the true nature of karma. Not understanding this is ajnana. And anything that becomes an obstacle to understand this due to our ajnana, that becomes adhyaropa. So this, because of this, we are not able to eliminate avarita. Varita is elimination. Avarita. We are not able to eliminate ajnana. That is the reason Tasmad, one who realizes this, Tasmad Budhau Jnana Vicharavan Bhavet. He starts thinking in the right direction when we realize it. So this is Ajnana and Adhyaropa, two concepts, two samskaras that has been explained in this particular verse. So with this, we end this session. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।